There we go. Idaho all of a sudden is 3-2 after going 5-43 in the last 4 years. Is there any reason to think that New Mexico State is going to rise up and stop the Potato Vandals' route to a potential fourth win and potential? Maybe they get 6 wins, and we're talking about Idaho in one of these mid-December bowls. What do you guys think?
Absolutely not. New Mexico is covering.
Wow. You believe in the Aggies from New Mexico State.
But Idaho is bad.
I almost was like, give me 4.5 points when these shitty teams are playing. Idaho isn't as bad, or I don't even know. They're not in the Kibby Dome. It's not as intimidating.
The Kibby Dome, there's like 500 people at the Kibby Dome.
But then I looked at New Mexico State and saw they've lost to bad Georgia, so give me Idaho.
Yeah, and that's more of the point. One of the themes this week is mostly picking against bad teams. Cal being the exception, I would say. But the rest of them, and obviously Temple. I mean, Temple, you're picking against the schedule and not having to beat anybody besides Hack and Cutler in week 1.
I'm just saying Temple's bad. Temple's not.
Yeah,
Temple's
I think
not top 50 team. They're not even close to top 25 team.
right. And the other funny thing is Notre Dame's playing their 219th game against a ranked team as a ranked team, and this is the first game in Temple's history they're playing against a ranked team as a ranked team. So we'll see if that they can live up to that kind of pressure. But I got you guys on here. We're the 3Bs this week for the talk. I need to hear the Bubba and Brant upsets or / picks of the week if they're not upsets. I want to hear what you guys got.
Go. You could go first if you want.
I'll go with my pick of the week. Marshall to cover I have 20 against Charlotte.
Yep.
Charlotte's another one of those teams that just came out from the FCS. Bad. They were bad in FCS, and now they're bad in FBS. Doesn't matter. Marshall's not great, but they're good enough to cover 20 against a crap team that's essentially an FCS team.
I agree.
For upsets, I was looking at the Ducks they're underdogs.
I got the Ducks winning outright. That was almost the upset of the week this week.
Vernon Adams is back, so
they had a week off too. And how many times you follow the Ducks? I know you were at Michigan State, Oregon, where they should have won that game, and if Vernon Adams didn't overthrow the guy with the broken finger. But how many times has the Ducks been underdogs in the last this run? And they were underdogs 2 weeks ago, and it wasn't even close. So I feel Arizona State's very up and down. So I like the Ducks' chances.
Yeah, and Bryce Freeman, even when Vernon Adams is hurt, all they had to do was just give him the ball every time, and they would have been all right. But
You have to bear with me a second here. I need to put some bet in the World Series.
well, it's bet on baseball.
Who are you
I was
taking?
thinking Ducks, and I'm also thinking UMass. I don't think Ball State's any good. They lost to bad Georgia.
Yep.
So,
Both teams are bad. Ball State will cover that.
and then
I got UMass winning that game outright.
yeah, so do I.
I
think
don't know about that.
UMass
Ball State
UMass
stinks.
got a tough first 6-7 games over they played so far, but they don't. They already played Temple. They played Notre Dame. They played Bowling Green. They played Toledo.
Yeah.
Up for your 5 losses or 6 losses, whatever they got. UMass might go 6-6.
I'm hoping they do. They're one of the most exciting bad teams out there. At least if they slipped into a bowl game, that they can score some points. Not one of these.
They'll go to a bowl game, but they could go 6-6 and not get 180.
Yeah. Which
Possibly more.
you got to walk before you run, right?
Yeah.
That leads me to part of the reason I went with the upset of the week this week is the Akron Zips upsetting the Chips. It the former Rubber Bowl, which has some sort of screwy name. They're getting 3.5. Give me the 3.5. If Central Michigan's bad enough to almost lose to that crappy Ball State team last week, then going on the road again, I think this is a perfect trap game for Central Michigan looking ahead to a schedule that doesn't look so tough down the stretch. They got an outside chance of, hypothetically, if us and them ran the table, they could still, pull off making the MAC title game. But I think they're going to get caught looking ahead. And Terry Bowden and his golden hair, he's going to find a way to upset the Chips this weekend. I just didn't like what I saw of the Chips as far as if you're going to struggle with Ball State a week after Ball State loses by double digits to bad Georgia State. It gives me some pause. I know we have problems with them, but I think the Zips can shock the Chips.
As a Husky fan, I hope they do.
This is a Husky Central podcast this week.
Remember they have because unless it's like Bowling Green.
Right. This year for sure. I know. I maybe I'm too much in the Akron corner since before the year, but hey, we got the Bulls and Cavs here tipping off. So we can get a shout out to saying that fuck LeBron, first time of the year, first shout out of the year. Hashtag hope LeBron tears his ACL. But
yeah, they started like right on time. I thought they were going to start out like 7:15.
yeah, it's TV, man. That's great.
Well, I mean, usually it's they start 15 minutes late because they want to get the intro
or something.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how long the Bulls play or start with a Mirotic Gasol lineup because those two don't play much defense. So I think that's an interesting.
Are they keep them together and then keep like Taj and Noah together?
Yeah, I guess, but I think it's a little. We'll see. We don't know much about Hoyball yet, but we're going to get to know it here pretty soon. Hopefully, Dougie McBuckets contributes this year.
Down low as well, everybody. The United Center. Got to imagine the POTUS is
Obama security.
Slowing it down a little bit.
Oh, it's absolutely I was just going to say it looks like a lot of empty seats, but that can't be because people aren't. Yeah, and it's also they sent us out a thing saying get there really early because they expected a crazy amount of security and all that kind of stuff for getting in. So I'm sure some people just didn't pay attention to that. But don't worry, LeBron looks like he grew some chia pet back on his head, so that's a positive sign, I guess, for his hair game. Let's get to the main event though. I got you guys on here because in 1 week from today, we're back at the Ass Bowl.
I got an upset special of the week.
Oh, you got one? All right.
Need to get Georgia over Florida.
Wow.
Give me Georgia over Florida.
What do you see? What did you see in Georgia the last game when they beat Missouri 9-6 that makes you think they're beating the Gators? Come on now.
I just don't like Florida.
Okay, that's fair enough.
I just don't like Florida, and I like Georgia.
That's fair enough. I mean, that's okay. I'm very biased at times.
Fucking FCS. We got some FCS picks.
What do you got?
Got Harvard.
He's horny for the FCS.
Got Harvard -7 versus Dartmouth.
Harvard's pretty good.
No. I got the Redbirds -17.
Shout out to KQ.
Roll Birds. What else I got? Elon Stony Brook. It was only over under 28. So we're going with the over because
28.
Unless they're playing that game like
28.
Gotta imagine 28.
And like I looked at it, neither of them are like crazy low scoring.
Well, the Missouri Vanderbilt game was 34 last week, and that was the lowest over under in 1A since the 80s, and they didn't even come close.
I think college gets some really low ones because they don't score or give up points.
Yeah, I teased the under on that, so it boosted it to like 41, I think, and that was the easiest bet of the weekend. I teased that on like 3 things because there was no way Vanderbilt and Missouri were going to score 40 points unless they went to like 6 overtimes.
What about the Magic City Classic? Who you got there? The Alabama State, Alabama A&M.
Alabama A&M's always pretty good, and I think they have the better band too. So I know.
Which one of the Alabamas played Duke tough in the first round of the NCAA tournament like 5 years ago?
Oh yeah, Jesus. Anyone?
ESPN doesn't give you like FCS stats; it only gives you their kickers. So I was just working off kickers for most of these. Alabama A&M, their kicker, Cesar Ramon Diaz, 1 for 7 on the year on field goals.
Holy cow!
So I'm taking Alabama State.
I don't care what football you're playing.
I think they need to have some open tryouts there at Alabama A&M for kickers. That's pretty terrible. But
a whole lot to work with there for kickers.
Are you guys heading to the shittiest part of Ohio next Tuesday?
We were just talking about this earlier. My schedule is open.
All right.
We're working on getting a partner out there.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've been there twice.
Him and Tom and some of the Evans scholars are going. Me and a couple other guys are maybes. We'll see.
Okay.
I have a long way to go to Toledo.
Yeah, I was there in 03 and 05. 03 we don't want to talk about. That was miserable. 05 I managed to somehow drive back that night, get a ticket on the way home. The Toledo cop, while pulling me over, usually I can, I've argued my way out of tickets before, and I was so pumped from the game, I was just going way too fast, and the guy, he's like, you just come from the game? And I'm like, yeah, and he's like, so what happened? He's like, oh, the Huskies won, and they kind of kicked their ass or something like that, and the guy just stared me down, and I knew I was getting a ticket at that point. There was no way of getting out of that one. And I somehow managed to drive all the way back to DeKalb, and then get all the way to Chicago to work for the Bulls by 8 a.m. So that was one of my greater feats.
You were working for the Bulls but living in DeKalb?
No, I was taking a girl back to DeKalb who went with me, and still had to get to the United Center by 8 a.m. I believe I slept for roughly an hour and a half or so, because it was like 6 hours to Toledo. It was tough. But I'm very optimistic about next Tuesday, and I think it's kind of the optimism that we used to have, Toledo used to have playing us. Obviously, from 88 to 04, they beat us every time we played. We got them in 05. 06 was a tough one. 07, they put 70 on us. 08, we got a nice homecoming win over them. 09 was the infamous Jerry Kill, going for 2 too early in the game and then getting the field goal blocked at the end. And then we've won the last 5. And if you're a Toledo fan and you got all this riding on this, hypothetical 12-0 season that, isn't going to happen because they have too tough of a schedule, they're probably going to be somewhere between 7.5 and 10-point favorites over us. How do you guys feel about the Huskies' chances next Tuesday in the Glass Bowl?
Money line all day. We don't need points. I'm glad they I'll take whatever point is. I want to beat a ranked Toledo.
I agree.
I want the one-loss Toledo.
I agree. I know that I just think it's crazy that they're as high as they are ranked-wise for what they've accomplished when, Arkansas is 3-4 and they easily could be 1-6. And Iowa State's terrible. All the MAC West and Bowling Green, all those teams would have, except for Eastern, they would have probably, and Ball State, but all the contenders would have beaten Iowa State. I just think Toledo's getting a little too much credit for their
a little bit too much credit. I don't like it because they're getting too much. They're getting more credit for their wins than NIU would get in the same situation.
Agreed.
So.
Agreed. The last Jordan Lynch year, we didn't even get into the top 25 until 9-10 games in.
Our non-conference is also shit that year.
Yeah, true. But I'm saying that I think they're a little overhyped. I think the line is going to be really high, and I just think that we now have a confidence against them. You beat somebody 5 years in a row. You got guys that just cycle through the program that never lost to them. So there'll be some confidence going into that. And I don't see anything they do that we can't stop. Obviously, our biggest bugaboo is Central Michigan for whatever reason. Doesn't matter what they look like or who's playing for them. But outside of that, I feel pretty good about it.
I want to remind you that the last time we beat Central Michigan, I was up in Mount Pleasant. So I think the key is for me to be in attendance in Mount Pleasant.
Now we know what we messed up. Have you ever been to the Soaring Eagle there up in Mount Pleasant?
I drove by, but I have not been inside.
It's an excellent establishment. If there's one good thing to do in Mount Pleasant, it's to go gamble at the Soaring Eagle. Lost a little bit of money there. I don't believe I won any money. But it's a solid establishment. And there's a Wendy's nearby, which is always a positive.
That's good. Arnie's is the place to go after Toledo games. I think I'm looking forward to another victory at Arnie's. A victory lap at Arnie's for sure. After a victory.
Yeah, Hardee's used to be the big road trip for me, the road trip stop, and now I have one down the street, and I've literally been here one time in 4.5 years. Isn't that funny how that works? Hardee's. Yeah. Get it right down the street, and I never go to it.
Hardee's.
Oh, I'm talking about Hardee's.
Oh, and Hardee's. No, we're talking about Arnie's. We're talking about some bar in Toledo. Some bar in Toledo.
What the hell's Arnie's?
The bar in Toledo where we ended up.
Where the hell? Is this just like a random joint you found, or was there something behind this?